All right, so the most work, when I did my meal planning, the most work would come with dinners. I have a little trick that I use now that I'll share in a second, but back in the day when I had kids, and I had a full-time job, I worked in IT, and my biggest pet peeve would I would walk through the door after a long day, and the first thing the kids would say, "What's for supper?" So I used to put this list in a cupboard, so everyone knew they could go to this cupboard and get the list for the meals. But okay, so for my meal planning, the first step in my meal planning would be to cover dinners. I often serve the same thing for breakfast and lunches. So I would make the list every day of the week and decide what we're going to have. So chicken, olives, and cauliflower, great recipe. On Sunday, I often made double batches, so I cook tons, and Sunday's dinner was usually leftovers for Wednesday. Also had a great recipe for barbecue mustard salmon, which everyone loved, me included. Burgers, homemade pizza. Friday was often takeout, and I would always pick a healthier version from the takeout menu. And then Saturday was always healthy nachos. If you guys want any of these recipes, let me know. So basically, I would make a list for the week. Then I would take the recipes and I would run through the recipe and then make my grocery list for the dinners. And that would be the first step in my meal planning. Today, I'm obsessed. I outsourced the meal plan thinking. I'm obsessed with HelloFresh. So I'm going to explain to you guys how that works, show you how it works. And I actually forgot to mention that I have free boxes. So if you're interested in trying HelloFresh, DM me or put it in the chat and I will send you a free box. All right, you guys were asking about how I plan my meals, and I have to share that I am obsessed right now with HelloFresh. We've been using it, Joe and I have been using it for, oh gosh, before we left Canada. So I'll say last spring, almost a year now. And then when we came to the States, we used it too. I love this, you guys. So you can go to your menu, you can skip a week if you need to. And you get a ton of things. I just want to show you. Oh, shoot. Edit delivery. Shoot. Change mails. All right. You get this week's menu. You can sort on high protein, get all the high protein meals. You can take something out of your box. And then you can even search healthy. So you can get Mediterranean. So you get all the Mediterranean foods. High protein. You can look for quick foods. And that's really how I plan my dinners. And I find that I say I want 3 meals for the week for 2 people, and we have enough for leftovers, so we get at least 4 nights, sometimes 5. Okay, once dinner's out the way, the rest is pretty simple. So breakfast typically for me is post-workout. And I do a post-workout shake, and that's still an option whether you've trained or not. So you could have a shake. For snacks, I tend to cycle through some of my favorites. So 2% plain Greek yogurt with fruit, cottage cheese. I can cycle through a handful of high protein recipes. Lunch is pretty fast, usually leftovers, tuna salad. I'll often select one of the snack ideas. I can make a meal out of that, no problem. If you're having kids, some fun options are taco bowls or make your own bowl, baked potato with the toppings. A good hack I used to use is buying a roasted chicken from the grocery store or any protein that's already cooked for that matter. Farm Boy in Canada has wonderful options. You can get salmon that's already made. These roasted chickens are amazing. I'd bring it home from the grocery store, take off the skin, debone it, throw it in the fridge. You can throw that into wraps. You can put it in your bowls. You can make a baked potato with all the toppings, and all the kids could top their own baked potato, and then you have chicken on the side. I often cook the same thing for everybody. So say we're doing this, make your own bowl, and I would have rice for the children and Joe. But for me, if I already had my carbs for the day, I would skip the rice and just add more vegetable. Like I would make a bigger salad, more spinach, more peppers, that kind of thing. So the takeaway is to keep it simple and repeatable. You don't need a new meal plan every week because you can substitute any protein for another. Switch out your veggies, right? So you get all the minerals and all the vitamins. You can switch out any fruit for another, and it can change the taste. Like, say you always have your Greek yogurt with blueberries, we'll put pineapple in instead. Boom. And a trick I also used is I would bring it home and I would cut it up from the grocery store. I just saw the pineapple, so I'd buy a pineapple that's already got the skin off and it's in a container. If I put it in the put the pineapple in the container, at the end of the week, sometimes I'd have to throw it out. If I brought it home and cut it up, it was gone in 2 days because the kids would grab it. I would grab it. And if it helps, I would be happy to share my protein recipe book because protein at snacks, it's a common pain point. So I created a collection of recipes. I would be glad to share that with you. Any of the recipes I mentioned in the video, if you want them, let me know. I'll post them. And yeah, let me know if you've got questions, but that's how I navigated the meal planning in my day.